welcome back to my channel, and in this video we're going to be talking about delivering your workshops online versus in person in the community. So this is a really interesting video. A lot of you are out there in the community delivering your workshops and all your kinds of activities, and an increasing amount of you are asking me, can I do this online? Can I use a Facebook group? Can I use Zooms to deliver my masterclasses, and all those types of questions. So in this video we're going to deep dive into that. We're going to talk about the pros and cons and how it looks for grant funders. So we're going to be covering that here. Before I get into that, please hit the subscribe button for everything to do with community interest companies, grant funding, social enterprises, and all of that. If you're interested in starting up a community interest company, I've got my flagship course, How to Set Up CIC and Get Grant Funded in 4 months. Check out the link in the description. I've had over 500 people do this course. Been a huge success, and it has launched many CICs. So go and have a look at that. That aside, let's get into the video. So a increasing amount of you, like I said, are asking, can I actually do like online masterclasses? Can I do online workshops, delivering that to my community? Like, does that count? How does it look for the grant funders? So this has been a changing landscape, obviously, certainly since COVID. As we all know, more and more has gone online. And although traditionally, definitely the grant funders would have been expecting you to get into the community and bring people together there. That's how it has traditionally been with community projects. Certainly there has been an acceptance over the last few years that actually there's a number of benefits when it comes to running projects online. So let's cover the pros of online workshops and activities. So first of all, let's look at what kind of shape they could take place in. So you could have a Facebook group. A Facebook group is a great way to grow a community online. There's a lot you can do in the Facebook groups in terms of giving out information, supporting people, create peer-to-peer community. You can also deliver lives and workshops on the Facebook group. And then aside from that, you could spin off into doing online group sessions through Zoom or Teams or whatever. And also you could have all kinds of activities going on online in terms of, you could do like day retreats online, actually have an itinerary of things you're going to do throughout the day, deliver them online. You could do art classes online. You could of course do one-to-one, any kind of mentoring, counselling, any kind of coaching could be done obviously one-to-one online. And then aside from that, I've also known other groups who have engaged with young people using, say, gaming online and then delivering mentoring through that online process. Even doing like art classes, you could be delivering an art class online, and that could also spin off into some other different themed sessions as well from that. You can access more people. So obviously online, it reduces some barriers. For instance, the travel to get there. It reduces if they've got disabilities getting out the house. If they just find it difficult getting out the house because maybe they've got children or just they're very time poor. In our society, we are very time poor, so we can get engaged in something online. That's always going to be easier and quicker than us going out of the house. You're bringing down a lot of barriers with online work, and then that then increases the amount of people that you can work with. So that then increases your impact and your stats of how many people will engage with you. So definitely in terms of bringing up the numbers of how many people you're impacting, 100% online is a really good way to go. And as I said, that could take many forms, whether it be Facebook group, WhatsApp groups, Zoom sessions, or whatever. Getting people online increases the numbers. It can look fantastic. So if you say to a grant funder, we've got, 4,000 people in our online Facebook group, we've got, 50 people in our WhatsApp group. It's like you've got these numbers, which, to be able to replicate that in the community would be nearly impossible. So 100% it increases your numbers. Let's look at now the pros of in-person. So in-person obviously does bring people together. It gets them out of the houses, brings people together. And of course, there's a lot in that. It's good for our mental well-being to get out of the house. It's good to create those opportunities in a world where those opportunities are shrinking. So definitely it is a good thing to get people together in person. It creates a deeper connection and strengthens communities to have things out in the community. It also helps the local economy in the community. If you're bringing people out of the house, it means you're going to be using a community space. It may bring people into space they didn't even know was there in their community. So you're bringing people out into the community, showing that there's more opportunities. You're creating those in-person connections. They might make friends then and create other networks because they've been brought out of their homes that they may not do if they were online. They may still create some friendships and connections with like online Facebook groups, but it's definitely going to be less likely than if you were bringing them into the community in person. Now, another benefit, I suppose, of the online world would be the cost. So if you're going to deliver something online versus versus in person, you've obviously got the cost of the venue, cost of materials. Although it may be that you actually send materials to people to do on an online group. So you may still have a materials cost, maybe art materials or whatever, or workbooks, and then you send them to the people that are going to participate, and then you can deliver it online. But you still save money on the venue. Now, obviously, online Zooms and Teams, they do sometimes come at a cost, but they are free up to 45 minutes for Zoom. But there are obviously various different versions, Google Meets and stuff like that. So you've got lots of different platforms that would be able to do that. Facebook is obviously free. So that's another thing that's free. And the great thing about Facebook is you can do all sorts on it. You can actually schedule events on it. You can give handouts on it. You could do lives. You can schedule workshops in through the lives. So there's lots of tools with Facebook. So that's definitely one of the better platforms. But you will need to consider the demographic. If you're working with young people, they're not going to be on Facebook. So then that's not so good. So Facebook now is sort of middle-aged and older. So you need to think about, well, where is my community? If you're going to be working with young people, are they on a gaming platforms? Would that be the best place to work with them? What platforms are they on? You wouldn't have the same sorts of facilities on Instagram and Snapchat, which is where obviously the young people are. I would also just put in a word of caution that, like with any kind of community work, you must have policies, especially if you're working with children or people with mental health issues. There should be safeguarding policies, whether you're online or in person. But certainly if you're online, because of the risk of grooming children online, there's a big, obviously problem with that. So we need to make sure that we're protecting children. We have the right policies in our CICs. So just a word of caution that make sure you have, whatever you're doing, make sure you have the right policies and safeguarding procedures, whether you're doing in person or online. So I hope that's been a bit of food for thought. I would say that have a mixture of both. Have a think about what kinds of things you'd like to do, what kind of platforms, or whether it be in person you want to do them, and then think about maybe mixing a few things in. Grant funders are definitely okay with either. As I said, they recognise the pros and cons of both, but I would definitely suggest that maybe mix both into a grant application. So let me give you an example. So you might do quarterly in-person meetups, but have the rest online. So maybe a weekly live online to your Facebook community. So that could be one model that you could go with. But definitely just think about collecting the numbers, the impact. So the grant funder will be looking for the impact, and they will go and snoop on your Facebook groups as well. So they will want to see evidence of the online groups. Obviously, the beauty of being online is you can record things easier than you can in person. So you can record things online. That will gather your evidence. So nobody can say you didn't run your project because you will have all the online Zooms and everything, record everything. With in person, you'll need to get your evidence through taking photos and collecting videos, which can be a lot harder when you're doing that delivery because you're busy doing the delivery, unless you hire somebody else in to do it. So in terms of evidence collecting for the grant funders, there's obviously a lot more challenging in person because you've really got to get somebody to do it or find the time to do it yourself. Whereas online, really easy to collect that evidence. So that's one thing you want to consider with the grant funding and the pros and cons of each of those models. So I hope that's been useful. Drop in the chat any questions or any ideas you might have on running any kind of online or in-person workshops and how you think that might sit well with a community interest company. Maybe you're thinking of setting up a community interest company, got some ideas, maybe you've already got a Facebook group and you're wondering, would this make a good CIC? Like, would this get grant funding? If that is you, then jump it in the chat or go onto my website and jump in the chat box there and ask me any questions.